He is Atlanta's 61st mayor, and believe it or not, he's quickly approaching one full year in office, just a few months to go. It's gone by quickly, hasn't it?
Yeah, Mayor Andre Dickens is in studio with us. You were elected almost a year ago, sworn in January, 10 months on the job.
Yeah.
How's it going? Is it what you thought it was going to be, or significantly harder?
Well, I love the job, first of all. This is the best job ever, and this city is the best city ever, so I've been enjoying it. I've, had a lot of big challenges come right at me right at the beginning and throughout, and I'm up for the challenge. I love it. I love the connections that Atlanta's, support system gives us, the business community, the neighborhood associations, the media, everybody's chipping in, so I don't feel like I'm alone in this job, so I love it.
One of the challenges, obviously, when you first came in, top of the list was crime.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's the negative connotation for crime, and there's certainly different ways of handling that, right? And of course, Peace Week is an initiative of yours that is a different view of that, right?
Yeah, of course, public safety is important. I mean, the city of Atlanta is just like every other city. We're dealing with a violent crime wave that we're trying to suppress. We're trying to keep it down, trying to get people of the mindset of peace. And so what we found is some of the violence that we've seen are interpersonal. These are things that are conflicts that just haven't been resolved. People's inability to disable or to de-escalate issues has led to murder, has led to people conducting themselves in a way that they wish they wouldn't if they could look back at it. So what we're doing now is we have Peace Week this week and Just Peace Month. This whole month is going to be about peace, being mindful of your actions. We got everything from yoga to mindfulness exercises, to going to schools, to reading, to activities that are fun. Of course, I'm bringing back my midnight basketball for the winners of midnight basketball versus the police and firefighters. But a lot of this piece is about we have a mayor's office of violence reduction and a bunch of team members that are going out there spreading the good word about how to look at the other side of public safety, to have a balanced approach where I have a police chief, I have a dedicated Atlanta Police Department, but we also got to make sure that our own actions as individuals, making sure that we don't go to a gun to resolve some of these conflicts. And so that's why the first Peace Week we did in February, we had no homicides that whole week. Now, I don't know if it's directly correlated or caused by Peace Week. I know that I'm going to do it again and hope that we continue to see crime.
Well, let's just call it Peace Week every week.
Peace Week every week.
I have to agree with you that certainly we can't put all the onus on the police department to handle crime. It's got to be some individual responsibility.
Proactive approach.
Community, and it goes deeper. It was so deep, the issues. But with all due respect, how do you respond to those folks that say, come on, Mayor, the police department's got to do something? I have friends that live, outside the perimeter and say, man, I ain't going to Atlanta. I'm not going down to Lenox Square because I'm going to get shot. I'm not going to go down there, over there by Georgia Tech, because there's just crime there. What can and what is the police department doing to make sure that people feel safe coming to the city of Atlanta? Crime is still up. Homicides may be down, but crime is still up, Mr. Mayor.
Right. Well, thank you for that. I do want to address that. So at the same time that, Atlantans, I'm a lifelong Atlanta, born and raised here, and I was a kid that grew up in the lower income neighborhoods, made my way through. So I know a little bit about how Atlanta sees itself and how it sees crime. But I also know we have a long memory when it comes to things. So an incident that happened at Lenox Mall and things that happened there 2 years ago or last year still on people's mind this year. Meanwhile, we haven't had a single violent act of crime at Lenox Mall this entire year. So we've gone where millions of people every single month, 1 million to 1.5 million people go to Lenox and Phipps Plaza every single month, and yet we haven't had any violence. That's because Phipps Plaza and Lenox Mall and Simon Mall partnership with the city of Atlanta has worked. So we are making significant difference. And when we talked about Buckhead, crime is down 12% in Buckhead. So we had a movement where people wanted to leave the city of Atlanta because they felt like crime. Well, I say, hey, look at your stats this year. Look at all the interactions that people have had that were fun and without incident. Now, we still are dealing with crime. And so the police department has one of the highest clearance rates of crime in the nation. So that's why we're putting things together to make sure that if you pull a gun in this town, you will go to jail. But at the same time, I have diversion techniques for you, things that are, nightlife initiatives that have tried to keep our nightlights from having as much crime as they've had in the past. So we're working with them. Things such as the youth engagement, that my summer youth program that had really employed a lot of youth. You've seen a lot less water boys this year. We had a 20% reduction in youth-related crime this summer. So I'm going to also highlight the challenges that we have,
Right.
but I know Atlantans need to learn how to listen to the positive too, because we like to punch our own selves out. And meanwhile, last week we were just listed as the best place in the United States to live
Money
by
Magazine
Money
did that.
Magazine.
Exactly
So if we
right.
got the good, we got to talk about it.
Yeah, I understand. Did you hire all the police officers you wanted to? Because you came in saying you wanted to hire, what, 200?
We're almost at 200, and
Okay.
I still got a few more months to keep going because I want to get to 250.
Okay.
We're trying. It's competitive out here because police officers, people that want to be police officers are few and far in between after the national.
Tough job.
It's a tough job, and so now I'm encouraging folks. We have fairs where we've gone to various cities to try to attract police officers, but even right here in the city of Atlanta, we've been putting together recruitment classes, and those folks at the training, they work hard. We have the longest training cycle in the Southeast, 26 weeks, but that's because we want our police officers to be culturally sensitive, community-based policing, but also able to really deal with some of the crime that we have.
Obviously be able to do their jobs.
Do their job,
Frankly,
yeah.
I think that a lot of police officers across the country right now are even afraid to do their jobs.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough job.
Sure.
I really applaud the Atlanta Police Department for the work that they're doing, and also the officers. That's why we gave them significant bonuses this year, and that's why we're doing all that we can. You'll hear some other good things that they've asked me to do. That wasn't just money. Some things around cars, some things around housing, and each thing that they asked us for. I'm only 9 months on the job, but I'm listening and I'm trying to make efforts towards getting them there. And so by the end of this year, you're going to see a report card that looks pretty good.
I wanted to touch on a couple other timely topics. AMC closure, but also Forest Cove. Forest Cove, there's a recent announcement from your office about having relocated all 200 families in there. What's the status of that? And certainly it seems like they're going to be relocated at some point, hopefully back there.
Yeah, so I'm so happy to announce that on Friday, by the end of the day, Forest Cove residents have all been relocated. That was a goal of mine. When I came into office, I went and took a walk through Forest Cove and saw the deplorable conditions that people were living in. Now, this is not a city-owned property. The city of Atlanta does not own the grounds that Forest Cove are on, nor do we operate it. But in my city, I am not going to have folks living in this type of environment. So when I went there, I set a goal, and I worked with the Atlanta City Council. We got $9.1 million of American Rescue Fund money that came from President Biden, and we put that money to work to move these individuals out of this, deplorable conditions that led to a lot of violence, led to a lot of health disparities, asthma, and problems with the youth. It was the lowest performing schools district in the state, and a lot of people have been working hard to try to get these folks a better quality of life. And what I'm doing is we're going to renovate and rebuild this facility so that folks can come back. But right now, we had to get them out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah, we've seen the video, and we've covered a number of stories there, but well before your office got involved, so we know exactly what you're talking about. And then with regards to AMC, that's obviously a huge issue that we've been talking about in the news. And what's the impact going to be, and how are you guys trying to fight that? I know there's been a lot of funds allocated towards Grady.
Yeah, the sad thing is I got a call a couple of hours before Wellstar made that big announcement that on November 1st they were leaving. So they gave us 60 days notice that they were going to leave the city of Atlanta, and we were going to be stuck without our second level 1 trauma center. So it puts all the onus on Grady and some on Emory and Piedmont. I can't tell you how many hours I have spent, my COO and chief of staff and senior advisor, we have spent hundreds of hours trying to come up with ways to make sure that we provide health care to the citizens of Atlanta. Now, the good news is that we are vocal about it, and we're not required to. The county and the state provide your health care, but I want to make sure that citizens and visitors to this city have successful, opportunities to be able to be healthy. And so what we're doing is reimagining what a healthcare system looks like in Atlanta. And so I put a moratorium on the land so that Wellstar can't sell it to a developer and build condos or something like that. We want a medical center in whole or in part on that site. And so we're going to make sure that we're in negotiation with them and with other providers that actually want to provide health care in an urban environment. It seems as though Wellstar has decided that they only want to be in the suburbs. And so I want to find people who want to act as a healthcare provider in the city of Atlanta,
So
dealing
that's
with
what you're
indigent
moving
care.
toward.
I'm moving aggressively towards that, and
Okay.
I'm taking every phone call across the nation from anyone who wants to operate a hospital
Okay.
in the city that takes care of indigent care. And this is important. I want the citizens of Atlanta to know, and the region, because it's not just Atlantans that are affected by this. If you want to get a medical appointment and now there's less beds in the entire system,
Right.
you are affected even as a person that has the means to pay, and you are trying to go to another hospital. Systems get backed up. So I'm looking at this from a full scale, and I thank our governor for stepping in and helping with
Right.
using the American Rescue Funds that were provided by the president's administration to be able to help us be able to take those funds and deploy them towards Grady, because Grady is a significant part of our healthcare system. And so we're going to have additional beds at Grady, a few more beds at Emory and Piedmont will help, but we still need another level 1 trauma center.
A couple other things we wanted to touch on.
Okay.
Big weekend.
Yeah.
There's 5K, Pride.
Yeah.
Looking forward to obviously being out there at Hartsfield-Jackson. And of course, Pride is going to bring thousands and thousands of people to
So you know what the cool thing is? As mayor, you get to have everything from a weekend of Pride and 5K to help people with their scholarships, as well as deal with crime, deal with a hospital situation, and help change people's lives from a deplorable situation of affordable housing, and try to put out a fire at Buckhead Saloon.
It's a multifaceted position.
Hey,
Mr.
24
Mayor.
hours in a day, right? but we're gonna have some fun this weekend.
Yeah.
So starting with the mayor's 5K on the runway at the world's busiest and most efficient airport. We're already sold out. 2,000 people is the max that the FAA will allow to, hang out on the runway. But we're gonna go out there. I've done it a couple of times. It is so fun, and it's for a good cause. It's to get
Yeah.
scholarships for people in Atlanta to go further their education. We've done 3,000 scholarships so far, and I'm just carrying on the legacy from other previous mayors, and this will be my first 5K on the runway as mayor. And then the very next day, we're gonna have Pride Parade in Atlanta. And Atlanta is the LGBTQ capital of the South, and in my opinion, the LGBTQ capital of the whole nation. But we're gonna put on a big Pride Parade, marching down Peachtree and onto 10th Street.
It's been a couple of years.
It's been a couple of years.
This will be
now-
big for the city.
Oh, it's
Right.
big. We
Yeah.
had a reception last night. Oh gosh, this is fantastic. Looking forward to it. The city of Atlanta is going to have a fun weekend, a fun, safe weekend.
Atlanta News First is going to be at both of those, by the way.
Yes.
We look very much forward to it. And just one real quick question as well, a little bit of a right turn for you, sports gambling in the state of Georgia. I have a lot of people asking me about this all the time. What does Atlanta have to lose or gain potentially by sports betting being legal in the state of Georgia? I mean, you're trying to put out bids to be hosts of major sporting events. I'd imagine that's attractive to fans.
Yeah, it's something that I'm looking at as it progresses and goes through the state legislature, and as it continues to come before my desk, I'll be sober and open-minded about it. I'm really just hoping the Braves, Falcons, Hawks, Dream, United, Georgia Tech, Georgia State. I just want all my local teams to win, but at the same time, I understand that we do have great operators in this city, FanDuel and others that are doing it online, and they provide jobs in our community. And so if there's more sports betting that can happen in the city in an organized fashion, but we also need to have the social safety nets around gambling if individuals take to hold to that. So I'm concerned, but I'm also optimistic about the possibility. So I'm open to it, particularly the innovative nature of technology being used in it.
Certainly, and we've seen it in states around us. But we think, how much
you.
should we just cover?
A lot.
Yeah,
Thanks a
we
lot.
just led a city in
It
one
was a
segment.
pleasure.
We appreciate you coming in. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you much.
All right,
We'll
thank
take a
you.
break, and Atlanta News First will be right back.